Hey everybody, in this tutorial we're going to talk about how to blend into Substance materials using the Substance Super Tools content pack. Now you can find this content pack from the content store, and I'll provide you with a link in the description if you want to check that out. Some really cool tools there that you can use to blend stuff together, and other various things which we'll cover in other tutorials. But for this one we're going to talk about the simple blend. So you can blend two materials together and animate them on the same surface. In this case, the surface is this old dude's face in front of us here. Alright, so if I just go ahead and play this back, you can see we have a quick animation. This guy's going to basically be changing his skin from a nice, healthy glow to a zombie type with open sores on his face. And we'll see that in just a moment. So if you don't want to see any nasty skin stuff, you can probably turn away right now, but we're going to go into it. So what I'm going to do first is select my character's skin. So if I have my character selected, I can go up here to Materials, and at the very top you'll find a tool here for color picker, or material picker rather. You can also use the B hotkey. I'm just going to pick my character's head right here, the skin on the head right there. Alright, now we can do the body as well, just so you're aware. You can do the same thing with the body and everything else, but we're only going to focus on the face, just for brevity's sake in this tutorial here. Okay, so you can see down on the texture settings we have a number of different texture channels: base color, opacity. Your typical ones right here, the shader type is PBR. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change this into a substance material, and then we're going to be doing that by using, under the media tab right here, under materials, there is a Substance Super Tools pack if you've purchased that from the content store, and here you'll find this AB blend, the very first one on the list. Okay, all you want to do is just click and drag that onto your character's skin. And once that loads up, we'll be able to blend in two different substance materials together. Alright, so you notice right when we apply that, now our texture channels have a little algorithmic flame in the bottom left corner, meaning that it's now substance and you can animate the real-time parameters. Okay, so let's go ahead down here to the substance section then. So in the substance section, you'll find all your typical stuff right here, but you'll also find a blend slider. Now currently we only have one texture loaded in, and there's a section called alpha material and there's a section called beta material. And these are the two sections, these are the two materials that you're able to blend together. So let's go into alpha material right here. You can see we have the same texture maps as our basic character textures up here on the top. So these are the same ones pretty much. And also in beta material, we now have the same ones as well. So the trick here is you want to load in different textures into the beta material, and then you can use the blend slider to blend them together. Alright, so let's leave the alpha materials, the basic ones right here, as they are, and let's load in some different ones into the beta material. So I'm going to double click on the base color channel, which is like our diffuse channel right here, and just load in this zombie JPEG here. I'm going to preview it before we go in there. You can see we have some gross looking sores and some, whatever kind of bloody stuff on the face here. Alright, we'll just close that down for now. I'm just going to load that in, and you won't be able to see a change right at the moment because we're basically on the far left of the blend spectrum, which means we're fully into the alpha material here. Let's just load in the other maps for our beta material. So I'm going to load in the normal map as well, indicated by the N there, and I'm also going to load in a roughness map here. This one right here is the R map, and alright, so basically this is just making the pustules you'll see a little bit later on a bit shinier and stuff. It's kind of gross to talk about this, but alright, anyways. So what we can do now is we can see if we move our blend slider from one side to the other, you'll see these sores slowly appearing on the face, and they're a bit shinier than the rest of it due to the roughness. And the skin color will generally get pretty dark and dead looking, and we see those red sores popping out on the face as well. Alright, so then we got this nice kind of blend to a nice healthy skin tone, and then we can blend it into this evil looking, gross looking zombie type animation there. Okay, so that's the basic blending. That's how you can blend two materials together. Now let's go ahead and do some of the animation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press F3 and go into the timeline here, and I'm just going to go ahead and once you have your character selected, you can go in here and you can select the substance track and materials track right here. Alright, and I'm going to show you when we animate these where our keyframes will go. So let's start at frame 1, and then we'll go down to like maybe, I don't know, frame 200 or so. Let's just enter in the value right here, press enter. Okay, and then maybe at frame 200, we can have, or no, let's go a little bit further, so maybe halfway, frame 360 or something like that. All right, and here's where we're going to go ahead and just blend, move our blend slider all the way to the right. Okay, so as he's kind of like wincing in pain there, you'll see his face kind of blend into this gross looking material here. All right, and if we zoom out on our timeline, you can see that in our substance track right here, we have a keyframe, and under substance, this track right here, substance skin underscore head, we have the keyframe. And then if we blend, if we click and drag from here to here, you'll see it'll blend and we'll get that gross look from here. And then if we wanted to restore it back to blend 1, or to the healthy skin again, we can do so. And it creates another keyframe right there. So psych, I didn't really turn to a zombie, now I'm back to a regular human. Okay? And you can, go ahead and delete these keyframes if you want. If I wanted to retain the original position a little bit longer, I can just right click and copy this keyframe in the substance track there, and just kind of paste it somewhere over here. And then from here to here, we'll retain the original skin color, and then it'll quickly transition from here to here to the gross looking evil kind of zombie material right there. Okay, so that's really how easy it is to do the quick blending of the animation. And again, you can click and drag these keyframes however you want. Another easy way to navigate through keyframes is to press the tab key. If you have a keyframe select, you can press tab to go forward to the next keyframe. You can also press shift tab to go back to the last keyframe. Okay, so just keep that in mind, a quick little shortcut for automatically going to the next keyframe there. All right, let's talk now about gradient blending. This is the last topic we'll talk about for this tool here. So there's also a section up here called gradient mask, and this is optional, as you can see. Okay, so what gradient mask does is this determines how the blending happens. So you can see right now the blending is pretty universal. It's spread out throughout the entire face, just a basic transition from one to the other. But you can use these gradient masks. I'm going to go ahead and open that and use gradient mask. Okay, and currently there's nothing loaded in there. So what you want to do is you want to double click on that channel and load in a gradient mask. Now this one here is your basic gradient mask, just a light to a dark gradient, or a dark to a light gradient rather. Okay, something like this. And it's a very simple gradient. I'll show you what it does here in just a moment. It's a very simple one. Okay, so now we're using the gradient mask, and notice that when we transition, we're getting the same thing. So we need to actually go ahead and use gradient mask at this frame too. Do the same thing. Okay, so make sure we have this gradient mask selected from here and then to here. Whoops. Control Z that. And make sure we just tab over to the next keyframe there. And where are we here? Substance. Yeah, gradient mask. There we go. Use gradient mask. All right. And if we zoom in, you can see here we just need to make those keyframes closer together there, or on the same frame rather. Okay. And then what happens here is you'll see now it'll kind of blend from the bottom to the top. Okay, so blend slowly kind of creeping up his face just like that. Okay, so that's what your basic gradient will do. It'll start from the bottom and it'll kind of eventually move up to the top just like that. Okay, so that's a very basic gradient. Generally you probably want to do something a bit more complex or a bit more accurate to the sores on the character's face here. So I'm going to go ahead and load in a different gradient mask. I'm going to preview this one, and you can see these little white sections here. These correspond to the areas where there are sores on the character's face here. So if you preview this one here, you can see those sores kind of correspond to where you see those light parts in this little gradient map here. So this means the transition is going to start from the areas where the sores appear, okay? Because those are the white areas. So let's go ahead and load in that gradient map there, okay? And now you can see as the sores appear, the sores will appear first, and then you'll see a little bit more of a color transition originating from the sores, okay? It'll slowly take over his face, and there we go. Finally, the whole thing has been destroyed, okay? So that's a really cool feature as well. You can use those gradient masks. Make sure that the use gradient option is enabled for each keyframe there. Otherwise, you won't get that effect. All right, so there you go. You get a kind of a gross-looking effect like this. All right, so I won't disturb you any longer with this guy kind of mutating into a zombie here. So hopefully you learned a lot about this power tool here, this super tool rather, the gradient blending and the blend from one substance material to the other. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure you check out our other tutorials on the substance super tools, and I'll see you in the next video.